Good morning. We'll have to adjust myself. Okay, I want to be sure the Buddha's in the picture. Maybe the little squirrel monk, but not today. Okay. I'm Vimala, and today is July the 22nd, a very bright, sunny Friday for us here. If you wanted to watch live yesterday and saw my sign about my plumbing incident, so I had to cancel. Things are much better. My plumbing issue was the tube from the toilet tank to the wall, and the water just broke sometime early morning, very early morning yesterday. And when I woke up, I suddenly realized the bathroom was flooded. And then as I began to grab towels and try to take care of turning the water off, which was almost impossible to do, I discovered that the rest of my apartment had into my living room, my kitchen, into my bedroom. I was walking in water, about half an inch at least, or an inch in some places. So no one in the maintenance group was here until I was rescued by Harold, who happened to notice water seeping out into the hallway. And by then I had almost mopped up with towels of a lot of the standing water, but he came in and was able to turn, I had already turned the water off, but he came in and fixed it and was so efficient and so calming. So it turned into a good experience with the people involved, and then I got lots of help. So now my apartment is full of these big fans trying to dry things up. So I might be more used to that noise in the background because I slept with the fans on. So if you notice a lot of noise in the background, that's what it is. So I wanted to share with you something from Tara Brach's book, Trusting the Gold, which I'm doing with another book group, a local book group here. And I present a meditation, and then the other facilitator will do another meditation. We kind of switch from the beginning of the group to the end. And we have sandwiched in between those two shorter meditations a beautiful book group, and we're reading it. We have it's just a 4-week book group, and this book is great for that because there are 3 sections in it. And the first meeting, we were kind of talking over all about the book and how we wanted to do it, and so that's been lovely. But it was one of my rescuers yesterday, because Tara in the very first section talks about when we have difficult experiences arriving or painful things arising, if we can just say to ourselves, and she has a story that supports this belongs, this too belongs. So whatever's going on, if we just accept it, not as a problem, although that's another one of her, something else she talks about is not thinking of issues as problems. But this belongs was exactly the mode I was able to go into. So this water spraying all over the bathroom because this little rubber tube that broke is just, it's just like a whirligig kind of thing. And I'm soaking wet, and I'm realizing how much flooding has happened. And I could remember this too belongs. So my whole attitude shifted. Instead of feeling, oh, why does this happen to me? Or why is this happening to me? Or just being, oh, I can't reach it, just a pity party. I just was able to look, what's the next thing to do? Okay, get more towels, soak up the water, and it just became, okay, this belongs. This is part of life. Why not me? So if you're from the South, you know that if there's, we have hurricanes. I know in Houston there are lots of hurricanes, so this is not an unlikely situation to have happen maybe several times in the life of even a home. So, and then sometimes there'd be snakes and all kinds of creepy things in that water. So this belongs was so helpful to me. It just let me do the next right thing and just stay calm and do what I could before things were able to get repaired, and then everything worked out okay. I ended up having to cancel all my other classes that I had on Zoom because there was so much noise with the fans once they got going. But I was able to go to the book group, and the day ended feeling like things were under control, and it was a beautiful help. This too belongs. We don't need to shut anything out or try to reject anything that comes our way. So today, now, that was from Tara Brach's book. I just wanted to share that with you. But we're still reading parts, just snippets really from Sylvia Boorstein's book, Pay Attention for Goodness Sake. And this is talking about those 10 special qualities that in Buddhism we think of the 10, we call them sometimes the 10 perfections, or those 10 qualities of the Buddha that led to his enlightenment. And she's writing about it because we often can use these 10 qualities as things to focus on, things to focus our practice on, and to always come back to see how we're doing, how it's going with us in our own personal practice, our lives, our daily lives, and how we've been able to incorporate these things into our lives. So this is number 4, which is wisdom. And Sylvia has really good chapters on each one of the qualities. And I'm just going to read a little bit from the first of the chapter and then the end of the chapter. So let me make sure I have the end. But before we do that, before I start reading that, why don't we sit, have a short sit, and then I can read. But we'll probably sit for just about 6 or 7 minutes. So if you don't meditate regularly, I know a lot of us were saying how we admire Tara Brach as, her practice. She talks about different times in her life when her practice has had to be much less than it is now, when she was raising her son, and different times of her life when she'd been sick or very busy. But she has a routine practice and then goes on retreat when she can. So even a routine practice of 5 minutes a day is going to be helpful. And it's very good if you can just take time during the day to maybe stop even for a minute, just to become aware again of your breathing. Because a lot of times if we're really stressed or we're really caught up in the day, we may discover we're breathing way up in our chest, upper chest, and not really benefiting, other than just keeping us alive, not really benefiting from getting that breath really into our bodies and taking the time to breathe correctly. Pretty basic. So don't worry or feel that you're not doing the right thing if you don't have time to sit for 30 or 40 minutes, maybe twice a day. So that can be so intimidating to hear, because a lot of times the day can go by and 5 minutes would be just a joy to feel like you could carve that out of your day. So just do what you can, but you'll notice the benefits right away. even if it's just stopping for that 1 minute to catch up with yourself. And when you're breathing, you're really tuning inward when you do that 1 minute meditation. You stop and you breathe and you just go inward. How are you doing? What's going on with you? And can you allow let go of a little of the pressure of your day? So let's take our short time. Just be comfortable, but let your spine feel lifted up. And then when you sit, you will feel more comfortable. We're not used to sitting up straight because we're mostly used to like being at a computer or walking around. You can walk and meditate too, of course, or be on your back. But if your back is straight, then you can kind of let yourself relax around that spine. The spine will support you, and even the muscles around the spine can relax. And if you can, close your eyes, or if you leave them open, just try not to be letting your eyes jump around all over the place. And especially if you had just kind of rushed a little bit previously to this, if you can just take a few deep breaths in and out, it really helps you bring everything together into the present moment. And then just be aware of the body breathing. Let the body pick its own. Let it breathe on its own. Let it pick its own rhythm. And if you are lifting your spine up, you'll just notice automatically the breathing will become deeper, because we've opened our lungs up. If you roll your shoulders back, that'll be even more pronounced. Your natural breath begins to be deeper. So just begin by breathing and staying on the breath. Pick a spot, either the nose, around the nostrils, or maybe your belly, where you can feel the breath going in. And then as we exhale, we feel it again. Be aware of the inhale and the exhale. All you need to do is observe the breath. And if you become distracted, you'll know that you've lost your count of the breath, or you've lost, you don't know if you last counted the in-breath or the out-breath. It's so easy to do. But then just start again with a fresh in-breath. See if you can keep your focus there. Let everything go. Let everything belong. Thoughts will arise, but you can just be aware of thoughts. You can just label them thoughts, but don't start feeding them with your attention. Just let them come and then let them go, because they won't stay around if you don't jump into them and get caught up in them. That's what I'm calling feeding them with your attention. Let them come. They may stay for a while, but then they'll get bored if you're not getting caught up in them, and they'll go away. And you can keep coming back to the peaceful breath. So let's end the meditation with the ending we use every time. May everything I do and say and think today be done not only for my own benefit, but the benefit for all other beings throughout the universe, humans and non-humans, those near to me and the ones far away. So let yourself become a refuge for yourself and for others. Thank you. So let's read a little bit. So this is chapter 4. Each one of the paramitas has its own chapter. Wisdom, and here's a quote from the Buddha's teachings. There are, O monks, these 4 splendors. What 4? The splendor of the moon, the splendor of the sun, the splendor of fire, and the splendor of wisdom. Of these 4 splendors, this is the best, the splendor of wisdom. There are amongst these 4 radiances, these 4 lights, these 4 lusters, these 4 sources of illumination. Of these 4 sources of illumination, this is the best, illumination by wisdom. turn a page. So she begins each chapter with, she has this little chart. You can't read it, I know, but you can see the little chart. She has these all charted, and she reads the way she would read her chart. If I pay attention, I see that all my experiences, pleasant, unpleasant, even neutral, or possibilities for grieving or resenting, discounting or worrying or doubting, possibilities for creating suffering. And I also see in those same experiences the possibility of maintaining a peaceful, contented mind if I cultivate positive mind habits, and that's right effort, wise effort, steady attention, which is wise concentration, and balanced, clear awareness, which is wise mindfulness. I trust that a growing ability to discern the possibilities for such suffering and happiness as they arise in each moment of my life will keep me clear-minded and cause me to act with more wisdom. So here's wisdom meditation, and we'll read this and then skip to the end of the chapter. So here's a meditation we can do another day. It's a little bit longer. When I teach about wisdom, the ability to know deeply the truth of how things are, I often hear decades-old echoes of my psychologist friends, newly enthusiastic about the vocabulary of Gestalt psychology. They would ask, "How are you?" And when I replied, "I'm fine," they would follow up with, "How are you really?" At the time, I thought they were being confrontational, maybe even impolite, and I'd feel annoyed. Now I understand that question as an invitation to look deeply under the surface of what is most apparent, and I teach a variation of it, what's happening really, as a meditation instruction for the development of wisdom. The Buddha's sermon, The Foundations of Mindfulness, promises that paying attention in 4 specific ways to physical sensations, beginning with the breath, to the affective tone of each moment of experience, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral, to the presence or absence of any specific state of mind, mind with or without anger, mind with or without calm, mind with or without any particular quality, and to what is true, deeply true about all experience. Guarantees liberating wisdom. Those are the 4 foundations of mindfulness she just described. The discovery that everything is always changing, that everything has multiple causes, most of them beyond our control, and that struggling to have things a certain way or to keep things a certain way is both futile and painful. That is the key, the Buddha taught, to developing the mind habit of non-contentious, gentle, wise response. Here's how to do it. You can do this meditation with your eyes open while reading these instructions, but please read slowly so you can feel what's happening as you go along. Maybe you'd like to just close your eyes while I read this. You're likely to be either sitting or lying down, so notice how it feels to be sitting or lying down. And notice whether right now that feeling is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Feel yourself breathing. Think the words that describe what's happening. Breath is coming in, breath is going out. This is a long breath, this is a short breath. This experience of breathing is pleasant. This experience of breathing is neutral. Or even this experience of breathing is unpleasant. By thinking these words as if you were talking to yourself, you amplify your capacity for discernment, the hallmark of wisdom. So try it. Close your eyes now for a few minutes so you can feel your body and your breath and practice telling yourself what's happening. Whenever you feel ready, you'll open your eyes and can continue. As you read on, stay aware of your body and your breath. Think the words that describe the contents of your mind. Mind with lots of thoughts in it. Mind filled with energy. Mind empty of energy or sleepy. Mind filled with contentment. Mind filled with restlessness. Mind filled with delight. Mind filled with irritability. Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. To develop wisdom, it doesn't matter what mind state is present. It only matters that you know what is present. Now that you've practiced telling yourself what's happening, spend some time telling yourself what's true about everything that's happening. And here's the hint, it's all changing. A breath came in, now a breath is going out. My body was comfortable when I started this meditation. Now I want to stretch and move. Pleasant has become unpleasant. I doubted I could meditate. That was unpleasant. Now I think I can. This is pleasant. Or everything changes. The next to last sentence that the Buddha is reported to have spoken as he was dying before his final sentence of encouragement to his community was, transient are all conditioned things. It means that everything that begins ends. Something else happens. This something else is dependent on what's happened before, but new. Knowing that everything is always changing supports the heart in times of difficulty, reminds it to celebrate every moment of joy, and keeps the mind awake, paying attention. And then she advises, if you're reading the book, try to meditate a bit longer now with eyes open or closed. And this is if you're continuing. Ask yourself, what's happening, really? So you can be doing that the entire time. What's happening? What's really happening? Because you feel things arising, or you feel things changing constantly. So that's a beautiful way to start a chapter on wisdom. We're talking about the wisdom that comes from within, not how many courses you've taken or books you've read. Now, let's see. We have 2 minutes left. So I think we'll read this last, there's a story that's really nice, but it's kind of long. And so I will not read that, but I'll read. This is the very last, a page and a half. They love it when I am a Buddha, everyday wisdom practice. I often teach day-long classes in retreat form. I begin the day by setting an intention for our work together. We acknowledge each other as a practice community. We often recite the precepts, and we agree to keep retreat silence, taking part in group discussions and asking questions, but not visiting. At midday, since people bring lunch with them and eat alone, keeping the silence, outdoors if the weather is good, I like to say, here is a brief instruction, not exactly the formal instruction for mindful eating, but appropriate for the work we are doing today. Eat your lunch like a Buddha. Then if you can, take a walk. Walk like a Buddha. Come back when you hear the bell, and we'll practice together for the afternoon. Everyone seems to understand that instruction. No one has yet asked, what do you mean? How should I do that? How can I do that? I'm not a Buddha. I think the question gets in under the radar of the rational mind and speaks to the part of us that knows. I don't think it would work for me to say, eat wisely or walk like a sage. All of us would feel self-conscious. So here's the everyday practice. Do your day, whatever you're doing, like a Buddha. The people you meet will probably appreciate you. You'll feel good, and you don't need to tell anyone what you're doing. 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, when Buddhism was not widely known in the United States, students at mindfulness retreats often said, "My family is uneasy about what I'm doing here. They worry when they think I am a Buddhist, but they love it when I am a Buddha." So, there's another, at the very beginning of Tara's book, and it's just my favorite. I think it's the whole book, the Trusting the Gold, where she says she says that this is what she honors so much in her life all the time, and it's like a mantra. May I trust my own goodness. May I see the goodness in others. May I trust my own goodness. May I see the goodness in others. And I think reading that last little snippet from Sylvia, that's what she's talking about too. That's developing wisdom, isn't it? I see the goodness in myself. I trust the goodness in myself, and where'd I put it? May I trust my own goodness. May I see the goodness in others. That's developing wisdom. So, have a wonderful day, and I will be here if the creek don't rise. Now I understand that expression. I heard that so much growing up. It's so southern. If the creek don't rise. My creek rose yesterday, so now I understand that perfectly. I'll be with you on Sunday, so have a great day.